Have you ever felt like your entire world was crumbling, as if everything you once believed in was slipping through your fingers? What if I told you that this overwhelming sense of loss, confusion, and emotional turmoil is not a mistake, but the first step towards something greater? The collapse of your reality is not just chaos, it is an invitation to awaken. In moments of despair, when everything you knew feels meaningless, the universe is offering you a choice: remain trapped in the illusion or break free into a higher level of consciousness. This is the hidden truth behind your darkest moments. They are not punishments, but signals, divine whispers urging you to step beyond the limits of your past self and into something new. But why does this happen? Why does it feel like life is tearing everything apart before revealing something greater? For most people, life follows a predictable pattern: beliefs, routines, and identities constructed over years. We create a structure that feels safe, a reality built from experiences, cultural conditioning, and personal attachments. But what happens when this structure no longer serves your soul's evolution? The universe has a way of dismantling anything that keeps us from our true essence. The people who suddenly leave, the job that no longer fulfills you, the sense of purpose that vanishes overnight. These are not coincidences. They are wake-up calls. When your external world starts breaking down, it forces you to look inward, questioning everything you once held as truth. But here's the paradox: the more you resist this process, the more painful it becomes. The collapse is not an enemy. It is a teacher, revealing the illusions that have kept you from seeing your authentic self. Have you ever noticed that moments of deep crisis often lead to radical transformation? It is because suffering has a unique power. It strips away all that is superficial, leaving only what is real. When you lose what once defined you, you are left with the most important question: who am I without all of this? This is where the awakening begins. The collapse of your reality is not just about losing something, it is about making space for something greater. But here's the catch: the ego does not let go easily. It clings to identities, relationships, and external validation, fearing what lies beyond them. This is why the process feels like death, because in many ways, it is. It is the death of who you thought you were, so that your true self can emerge. But if this is part of a larger process, then what is really happening behind the scenes? What if I told you that the pain you are experiencing is not random, but part of a sacred transformation that many mystics and spiritual teachers have spoken about for centuries? Throughout history, sages and enlightened beings have described this exact moment of time when life forces you into deep introspection, into the depths of your soul, to rebuild from within. It is as if the universe is shaking you awake, stripping away every falsehood so that you can finally see the truth. And while it feels like an ending, it is, in reality, a beginning. But there's a deeper reason why this happens, one that most people never realize. It is not just about breaking down, it is about preparation. Your soul is being prepared for something far greater than what your mind can currently comprehend. The destruction is not the end, it is the doorway to an entirely new way of being. But why does it have to be so painful? This is where the mystery deepens. If the collapse of your reality is the beginning of awakening, then what comes next? Why does this process seem to follow a specific pattern, almost as if it is an ancient rite of passage? And most importantly, how can you tell if you are truly undergoing this transformation? There is a name for this phenomenon, something that has been recorded for centuries across different cultures and spiritual traditions. It is a process that every awakened soul must go through, a journey through darkness that ultimately leads to light. But what exactly is this experience, and why is it so universally recognized across time and space? The answer will change how you see everything. But first, we must ask, is there a greater purpose to this pain? Let's find out in the next chapter. Have you ever felt like you are wandering through an endless void, where nothing makes sense, and the very foundation of your identity seems to be crumbling? This is not just a phase, It is a sacred transformation known as the dark night of the soul. This experience has been described by mystics, philosophers, and spiritual seekers throughout history as one of the most profound yet painful awakenings a person can endure. But what exactly is happening here? The dark night of the soul is not just about suffering. It is about stripping away all illusions, forcing you to confront the raw, unfiltered truth of your existence. It is as if life itself is tearing down the walls of who you thought you were, making way for a more authentic, awakened self. But why does this process happen, and why is it so universal across spiritual traditions? At the core of this transformation is a complete deconstruction of your ego. The ego, that collection of identities, beliefs, and attachments that you have built over a lifetime, begins to dissolve. You may feel lost, disconnected, or even like you no longer recognize yourself. The things that once brought you comfort, your relationships, career, or personal goals may suddenly seem empty or meaningless. This is because your consciousness is shifting beyond the surface level reality. What once defined you no longer holds power, and this can feel terrifying. It is an identity crisis on a spiritual level. But what if I told you that this destruction is necessary? That in order to truly awaken, you must first unlearn everything that is not in alignment with your highest truth. The dark night of the soul is not just about emotional turmoil. It is a complete reconfiguration of your perception. Everything you once believed is questioned. You may feel isolated, misunderstood, or even abandoned by the universe itself. But this isolation serves a purpose. It is in the silence, in the space between your old self and your true self, that the greatest insights are revealed. This is why many ancient traditions speak of the necessity of solitude in spiritual awakening. The more you resist this process, the more painful it becomes. But the moment you surrender, accepting the dismantling of your former self, the process begins to unfold in a way that leads to profound clarity and inner peace. But how do you know for sure that you are going through the dark night of the soul? There are clear signs that indicate this process is occurring. You might experience intense emotions, grief, sadness, or an unshakable sense of emptiness. Your perception of time might shift, making days feel stretched or surreal. You may lose interest in things that once excited you, feeling as if nothing in the external world can satisfy you anymore. These are not just random occurrences, they are symptoms of a deeper transformation. But here's the catch: not everyone understands what they are going through. Many people believe they are simply experiencing depression or existential despair, unaware that they are undergoing a spiritual rebirth. So how can you tell if your suffering has a greater meaning? What are the undeniable signs that you are not just lost, but on the brink of a major awakening? This is where things become even more fascinating. The symptoms of the dark night of the soul are not just psychological, they manifest on a physical and energetic level as well. From unexplained fatigue to intense dreams and synchronicities, the body and mind undergo a profound recalibration. But what exactly happens during this phase? Why do so many people across different spiritual paths describe the same sensations, the same struggles? There is an answer to this, and it might change the way you see everything you are going through. But first, we need to dive deeper into the unmistakable signs of this transformation. Let's explore them next. You may have been feeling a sense of emptiness lately, as if the world around you has lost its color, and everything that once gave you joy now seems distant. You are not alone in this experience. This is one of the most telling signs that you may be undergoing the dark night of the soul. But how do you know for sure? The symptoms of this transformation are not just psychological. They are deeply emotional, physical, and spiritual. They challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. The signs are often misunderstood, leading many to believe they are simply struggling with depression or a loss of purpose. However, there is something much deeper at play. Let's explore these symptoms in detail to uncover the truth behind what is happening within you. One of the most common symptoms is a profound feeling of disconnection. You may feel detached from your old self, your friends, and even the activities that once excited you. This is not because you are broken, it is because your consciousness is shifting. The things that used to resonate with you no longer match your evolving vibration. This can manifest as a sense of isolation, as if no one truly understands what you are going through. It is a difficult stage, but it is also a necessary one. During this period, your soul is recalibrating, shedding the layers of conditioning and false beliefs that no longer serve you. But this detachment is only one aspect of the process. There are deeper physical and emotional signs that indicate this spiritual awakening is taking place. Another major symptom is an overwhelming sense of fatigue. You may feel drained even after getting enough sleep, as if your body is carrying an unseen weight. This exhaustion is not just physical, it is energetic. Your system is undergoing a profound transformation, and this shift requires immense internal energy. Many who experience the dark night of the soul report intense body aches, headaches, or a heaviness in the chest. These sensations occur because old energies, traumas, and suppressed emotions are surfacing to be released. Your body is literally processing the pain that has been stored within your subconscious for years. But the symptoms do not stop there. Your emotions also take on a new intensity, often surfacing in unexpected and overwhelming ways. Emotionally, you might experience waves of sadness, grief, or an unexplained sense of longing. It may feel as though you are mourning something, yet you cannot pinpoint exactly what it is. This is because you are grieving the loss of your old self. Your ego, the part of you that has built an identity around past experiences and external validation, is slowly dissolving. The discomfort of this process can make it seem like everything is falling apart, but in reality, everything is being rearranged for something greater. This stage can bring up suppressed memories, unresolved traumas, or deep fears that you thought you had moved past. But why does this happen? Why must one endure such intense emotions before reaching clarity? The answer lies in the nature of transformation itself. Just as a caterpillar must dissolve before it can emerge as a butterfly, your old self must dissolve before your true self can fully awaken. This phase is necessary to clear away what no longer serves you, making space for a new level of awareness. But here's the key: these symptoms are not a sign that something is wrong with you. They are evidence that you are evolving. And while this process can feel overwhelming, there are ways to navigate it with more clarity and grace. But before we explore how to move through this transformation, we must first understand what is truly happening beneath the surface. What is the deeper reason behind these symptoms? The answer might surprise you. Let's uncover it in the next chapter. If you were going through the dark night of the soul, you might feel as if your entire being is being dismantled. But what if I told you that this isn't just emotional turmoil or psychological distress? What if, beneath all the suffering, something profound and purposeful is unfolding within you? This is not just about pain, it is about transformation. When your external world starts collapsing, it forces your consciousness to shift inward, unlocking dimensions of yourself that you never knew existed. The breakdown is a necessary step in a much larger process, the restructuring of your very essence. But what exactly is happening behind the scenes, and why does it feel so intense? The first thing to understand is that your ego, the identity you have built over the years, is dissolving. The ego is not your enemy, but it has kept you confined within a limited perception of reality. It thrives on attachments, expectations, and external validation. But when the universe initiates this awakening, it systematically removes everything that no longer aligns with your higher self. This is why relationships may fall apart, careers may become unbearable, and your old passions may no longer spark joy. It is not that you are losing everything, it is that you are shedding illusions. Your soul is stripping away the layers of conditioning that have kept you from seeing your true nature. But this dismantling does not happen without resistance. The ego fights back, clinging to its old narratives, which is why this period feels so emotionally and mentally exhausting. On a deeper level, your energetic body is undergoing a recalibration. This means that the very frequency of your being is shifting, aligning with a higher state of consciousness. This process is why many experience physical symptoms such as exhaustion, headaches, or even spontaneous waves of energy. Your body is purging dense energies that no longer serve you. You may find yourself drawn to solitude, nature, or deep introspection without fully understanding why. This is because your system is craving alignment, seeking to reconnect with your authentic self. But as this transformation unfolds, many begin to question everything. Who am I? What is my purpose? What lies beyond this reality? These questions are not mere existential musings, they are signals that you are stepping into a new awareness of existence itself. One of the most fascinating aspects of this process is how time begins to feel different. Many report a sense of timelessness, moments where the past, present, and future seem to merge. This is because your consciousness is no longer bound by linear time. It is expanding beyond the constraints of the material world. You may also notice an increase in synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem too precise to be random. These are signs that you are tuning into a higher intelligence, a guiding force that has been with you all along but is now becoming more apparent. This is not just your imagination. You are shifting into a new paradigm of perception. But what does this mean for your everyday life? And how do you navigate this journey without feeling lost? Now that you understand what is truly happening inside you, the next step is learning how to navigate this process with clarity and grace. The dark night of the soul does not have to be a period of endless suffering. There are ways to move through it with wisdom, embracing the transformation rather than resisting it. But what are these methods? What are the tools that can help you integrate this awakening in a way that leads to true healing and empowerment? The answers are closer than you think. Let's explore them in the next chapter. Now that you understand what is happening within you, it is time to shift from merely enduring the dark night of the soul to actively navigating it with wisdom and clarity. This transformation is not meant to break you, it is meant to awaken you. And while the process may feel overwhelming, there are powerful steps you can take to move through it with greater ease and purpose. These 5 steps will help you realign with your inner strength, embrace the transformation, and emerge more connected to your true self than ever before. Step 1: Radical acceptance. The first step is to stop resisting. The more you fight this process, the more painful it becomes. Accept that this transformation is happening for you, not to you. This is not a punishment, but a sacred initiation. Every loss, every emotional purge, every shift in perception is part of a greater plan to lead you to higher consciousness. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" When you surrender to the flow of this experience, you begin to work with the transformation instead of against it. This mindset shift alone can bring immense relief and clarity. Step 2: grounding and presence. When your reality feels like it is dissolving, grounding yourself becomes essential. Engage in practices that reconnect you with the physical world. Walking barefoot on the earth, spending time in nature, deep breathing, and practicing mindfulness can anchor you during moments of intense emotional upheaval. Meditation is particularly powerful here. It allows you to observe your thoughts and emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. The more present you are in your body, the less consumed you'll be by the fear of the unknown. Step 3: express and release. Emotions that arise during the dark night of the soul are meant to be processed, not suppressed. Writing in a journal, engaging in creative expression like painting or music, or even talking to someone you trust can help you release the energy that has been stored within you. This is not about fixing yourself. This is about allowing the emotions to flow through you. When you give yourself permission to feel deeply, you accelerate the healing process. Suppressed emotions manifest as physical symptoms, so the more you express, the lighter you will feel. Step 4: seek higher guidance. You are not alone in this process. Whether through meditation, prayer, or intuitive practices, connecting with higher guidance can offer comfort and direction. Many who go through the dark night of the soul report experiencing profound synchronicities or messages from their intuition. Trust these signs. This is your soul's way of reminding you that you are on the right path. Reading spiritual texts, listening to wisdom from enlightened teachers, or even seeking guidance from mentors can also help you gain clarity during this journey. Step 5. Embrace silence and solitude. The dark night of the soul often calls you into solitude. Rather than fearing this aloneness, embrace it as a sacred retreat. In silence, you will hear the whispers of your true self. This is where profound realizations occur. Disconnect from distractions, spend time in stillness, and allow yourself the space to integrate all that you are learning. The answers you seek will not come from the external world, they will emerge from within. These 5 steps are not about escaping the dark night of the soul. They are about moving through it with grace. The more you align with the process, the more you will understand its purpose. And while it may seem like an endless storm, remember every storm eventually passes. But before we conclude this journey, there is one last truth. You need to hear one that may change everything you think you know. Let's uncover it in the final chapter. After all the pain, the confusion, the dissolving of your former self, you might be asking, what was the purpose of it all? Why did you have to endure such an intense transformation? The truth is, the dark night of the soul is not a curse, it is a gift. What you have experienced is not just suffering. It is a sacred initiation into a higher state of consciousness. The truth that can change everything is this: you were never truly losing yourself. You were shedding everything that was never truly you. And what remains after the storm is the essence of your soul, purified, awakened, and ready to embrace its true purpose. Many people spend their lives clinging to identities, beliefs, and attachments that were never meant to define them. Society conditions us to seek security in external validation, achievements, and material success. But true fulfillment never comes from the outside, it comes from within. The dark night of the soul strips away the illusions, forcing you to look at your true nature without the masks. And while this process may feel brutal, it is the only way to break free from the false self and step into authenticity. The person you are becoming is not someone new, it is who you were meant to be all along. Now that you have walked through the darkness, you might notice something profound. You see the world differently. The things that once controlled you no longer have power over you. You are no longer bound by societal expectations, by fear, or by the need for approval. Instead, you have gained a deeper awareness of your own divinity. You are not a victim of life's circumstances, you are a creator of your reality. This is why so many people who go through this transformation report a heightened sense of intuition, a stronger connection to universal energy, and an unshakable inner peace. The chaos was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. This newfound clarity brings an even greater realization you were not alone. Many others are walking this path, awakening to the same truth. This is part of a collective shift in consciousness. The dark night of the soul is not just a personal experience, it is a crucial step in the evolution of humanity. When enough individuals undergo this awakening, the world itself begins to transform. You are part of something much greater than yourself. Your journey is not just about your personal growth. It is about raising the vibration of the planet and contributing to the expansion of universal consciousness. And now, you stand at the threshold of a new chapter. You have emerged from the darkness, not as a broken version of yourself, but as someone who understands their true power. This is your invitation to step fully into your higher self, to embrace the wisdom you have gained, and to live in alignment with your soul's purpose. If this journey has resonated with you, share your experience in the comments below. Your story may inspire someone else who is still in the midst of their transformation. And if you are ready to continue expanding your consciousness, make sure to subscribe, because this is just the beginning of a much greater awakening.